May I now call the meeting to order. So today we'll be discussing the progress update of the construction of the WIL, the SIL East, and the Kwun Tong Line Extension. We've got paper 1604/01, 1604/02, 1490/01, and 1529/01. Now, according to press reports in May, with regard to the WIL, the SIL East, and the Kwun Tong Line Extension, difficulties were encountered during the construction phase of the railways. And today we have MTRCL and the administration with us to update us on the latest development. So today we'll be discussing the latest development with regard to the WIL, the SILE, and the KTE. So let's invite the administration and the MTRCL in. So welcome everybody. From the administration, we have Mr. Yao Sheng Mu, the Undersecretary, Ms. Rebecca Poon, Deputy Secretary, Mr. Raymond Chang, Principal Assistant Secretary, Mr. Peter Lau, Director of Highways, Mr. Henry Chan, Principal Government Engineer, Railway Development, and then from the MTRCL we have Mr. Oda, CEO, Mr. Chiu Tai Chong, Projects Director, Mr. Mark Kusner, General Manager, WIL, SIL, then Mr. James Chow, General Manager, KTE, Ms. Maggie So, Deputy General Manager, Projects and Property Communications, and finally Mr. Francis Lee, Head of Operating. Welcome. So, Mr. Yao, please, the Undersecretary. Yes, Chairman. This paper updates members on the 3 railway lines. May I suggest that we start with the WIL and then the SIL and finally the KTE. And for each railway, the MTRCL will give members a 5-minute presentation and then answer members' questions on that railway. But before the MTRCL gives its presentations, I'll give an introduction. With regard to the WIL, the SIL East, and the QTE, works are being carried out. And according to the operating agreement signed in 2007 concerning the WIL, the SIL East, and the KTE, they are extensions of existing railway networks owned by the MTRCL, and so they are all ownership projects. And under the ownership approach, the MTRCL is responsible for the finance, design, construction, operation, and maintenance of the railway projects, and will also own the railways. And under the project agreement, the MTRCL has to use its best endeavors to complete the railway projects. There have been media reports that concerning the 5 railways, including the 3 railways being discussed, and then together with the SCL and the XRL, 5 together, altogether, the MTRCL may face a lot of pressure coping with all 5 railways, but in undertaking to take up the 5 railways, the MTRCL carried out its own assessment, including manpower, resources, and other aspects. And in planning the new railway projects, the government and the MTRCL, based on the information available at the time, formulated reasonable and feasible construction and commissioning timetables. But then for large-scale projects, especially projects requiring extensive ground or underground works, it's common that difficulties and challenges arise in the course of the construction works, and as a result, it's not surprising that we may not be able to adhere to the original timetables. But then in the light of public concerns, our Bureau has asked the MTRCL to, with regard to the progress of the construction of the 3 railway lines, carry out an up-to-date assessment. And we will continue to monitor the work of the MTRCL, and we will try to assist the MTRCL overcome difficulties encountered in the construction stage of the projects. We hope that these projects can be completed and commissioned as soon as possible. And in the light of the experience gained in taking forward these railways, we will better plan and formulate timetables for future railway projects. And now may I invite the CEO of the MTR to give an introduction, and then we will have a presentation on the WIL.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members, thank you very much for the opportunity to appear here today. We appreciate that the members of this subcommittee, as well as the traveling public in Hong Kong, would like to have more information on the progress of the new rail lines that MTR is constructing. We have put together updates today on the 3 railway projects in a more thorough and transparent manner. This will cover what we have achieved, the challenges that we are facing, and their impact, if any, to the delivery program. As you will know, building underground rail lines in developed and populated areas of Hong Kong is very challenging, and it inevitably causes disturbance to people who live, work, and travel through areas where construction is taking place. While we always strive to reduce these impacts as much as possible, we must thank the local communities for their patience and their understanding. The cooperation of these communities has been essential for the progress of these projects. We know that everyone has been looking forward to the early opening of the new rail lines. Based on the current progress, the West Island line should be in service by the end of this year, although there are still some complications with the Sai Ying Pun station. However, I'm sorry to say that due to delays of about 6 months at Admiralty and at Wang Pao, communities along the South Island line and the Kwun Tong Line Extension will have to wait longer for rail service at the door. I'd like to assure the committee that MTR is making every effort to complete the works and open the lines as early as possible. I also want to assure the committee that we will work very hard to clear up and return occupied sites to the community. And we expect most of these sites to be cleared in line with the original program. Now, I will hand over first to Mark Kusner, who will take you through in more detail the WIL West Island Line program. Thank you.
Mr. Kusner.
The West Island Line is a 3-kilometre extension to the existing Island Line with new stations at Sai Ying Pun, HKU and Kennedy Town. I will discuss the progress status of the project in the 4 key areas. These are the 3 stations and the trackside and train readiness. The presentation will show that the project is on target for opening in December 2014, but with some challenges remaining at Sai Ying Pun. In terms of trackside and tunnel readiness, all trackside installation works have been completed. Train testing between WIL and the existing Island Line has been in progress since May this year and is on target to be completed by August. At Kennedy Town Station, the structural works have been completed and E&M and architectural fit-out works are well advanced. FSD inspection for this station is planned for July 2014. At HKU station, structural works are complete and the E&M and architectural fit-out works are in progress. Installation works are in progress for the high-capacity lifts and the connection to the University of Hong Kong. FSD inspection for this station is planned for September. At Sai Ying Pung Station, there remain some challenges, and I will go into detail over the next few slides. First, it should be noted that for safety reasons, including evacuation and ventilation requirements, all three entrances, namely A, B and C, but not including B3, are required to enable the station to open. All three entrances are also required to avoid congestion when operating the station. With respect to B3, due to difficulties with the ground freezing works, this entrance will open in the fourth quarter of 2015, but this will not have any impact on the opening of WIL this year. For the main body of Sai Ying Pung Station, the structural works are complete and E&M and architectural fit-out works are in progress. FSD inspection is planned for November this year. At entrance B1, B2 and C, the structural works are still in progress. At B1, B2, the works have been delayed by difficult ground conditions and the challenges of carrying out the works on a small site close to buildings that are very sensitive to movement. Safety and minimising disturbance to residents has been kept as a key priority. The B1, B2 structural works will continue until the third quarter of this year, and this means that the programme to complete the fit-out works, including the lift installation, will run until late in the year, with no buffer in the programme. As a prudent measure, a backup plan is being prepared in the event that the works at Sai Ying Pung cannot be completed in time. In this event, HKU and Kennedy Town stations will open for passenger services in December this year, and the trains will not stop at Sai Ying Pung. In this event, Sai Ying Pung Station will open in the first quarter of 2015. In terms of operations readiness, preparations are progressing well and are on target for WIL opening in December this year. The group station control room at Kennedy Town Station is now being commissioned. Testing and commissioning of railway systems is also in progress at Kennedy Town and HKU stations. Mobilisation and training of operations staff has been in progress since early this year. This summary programme shows that there is some buffer for the train testing activities and the trains will be ready to run in December 2014. Kennedy Town and HKU Station will be ready for trial operations in October and opening for service in December. Works at Sai Ying Pung are also on target for completion in line with the December 2014 opening, but there is no buffer in the programme for the remaining works at some of the entrances. In conclusion, West Island Line is on target to open in December 2014. In the event that Sai Ying Pung Station is not ready for opening, we will implement a backup plan to open HKU and Kennedy Town stations without Sai Ying Pung Station. In the event that the backup plan is not feasible, the opening of WIL will be in the first quarter of 2015. Final confirmation of the opening arrangements will be given in October this year. Thank you.
Next. Someone's going to talk about the Southern Island Line, or you want to go through all the lines first? Hey, Wu.
Let us talk about WIL first, because now we can focus on the discussion of WIL and then we'll move on to SIL. Members, do you want to listen to the presentations on all the three lines first, or do we want to focus on each project individually? I'm sorry, the speaker is off mic. Well, otherwise it will be difficult for me to control the time of asking questions. Because for the three projects, there are many common problems. Now, if we give each member 5 minutes and then we have to talk about three projects, then we don't have enough time. So let's continue now. I think, yes, the MTRCL can talk about SILE and KTE now.
whole presentation.
That's
it's
fine.
easier for me to manage the time allocation for each member.
Mr. Chairman, that's fine.
Okay, please.
We're happy to do that.
Will Mr. Kirshner continue with the South Island Line?
Thank you. South Island Line is a medium-capacity railway that will interchange with the existing Island Line and Kwun Tong Line at Admiralty and run to Ap Plai Chau via new stations at Ocean Park, Wong Chuk Kang, Lei Tung, and with a terminus station at South Horizons. The total route length is approximately 7 kilometres. I will update the project progress in 3 parts, namely the Southern Loop, the Northern Loop, and finally Admiralty Station. First, at South Horizon Station, the excavation works have been completed and structural works are already in progress. At Lei Tung Station, the structure at track level has been completed and the cavern arch lining structure is under construction above concourse level. The mainline tunnel at Ap Plai Chau has been excavated and lined and the track construction is in progress. The structural works for Ocean Park and Wong Chuk Kang stations and the adjacent viaducts have been completed and E&M and architectural fit-out works are in progress at all these locations. At the Wong Chuk Kang depot, the structural works have also been completed and track installation is well advanced. Works trains have been delivered and track-related installation will start in June. At Nam Phuong Tunnel, 2,750 metres of the required 3,164 metres of the tunnel have been excavated and the lining works are in progress. The works at Admiralty Station involve an extensive interface with the existing Island Line and Kwun Tong Line, as well as the surrounding existing buildings. The complexity of the works can be seen from the next few slides as the new works are added against the existing Admiralty Station shown here in brown. First, the new cut and cover section of the Admiralty Station extension is shown in yellow. And now the cavern and tunnel section are shown in blue. For the works at Admiralty Station, MTR has adopted a safety-first approach with the emphasis on ensuring no impact to the train services or the surrounding structures. In particular, the underpinning beneath the Island Line, as indicated on the bottom right-hand corner of the slide, has required very complex and difficult engineering works. This animation will show the complexity of the works required to support the existing Island Line. The underpinning zone you will see coming up shortly and is shown in pink, and this zone is approximately 50 metres long and 23 metres high. So this is the underpinning in pink beneath the Island Line. The animation will show the beam and column structure that is built incrementally beneath the existing structure. As the new structure is built, the in-situ granite rock has to be carefully excavated to make way for the new structure. Strict engineering control of the works is maintained, with safety of the railway structure as the prime objective. This work is very difficult to complete and is carried out on a 24-hour, 7-day-per-week schedule. These pictures show the current progress of the underpinning works, for which the installation of the support beams has been substantially completed. This is shown in the top left-hand picture, where you can see the Island Line structure and the underpinning beams beneath. The bottom right-hand picture shows the excavation of the station box. Finally, these last pictures show the progress at the new cavern and platform tunnels, where the excavation has been completed and the concrete lining works have commenced. So in summary, for the project, works within the Southern District are progressing in line with the original schedule. There are challenges at Nam Phuong Tunnel and Admiralty Station, and for the latter, the works are about 6 months behind programme. Confirmation on the programme to opening will be given at the end of this year when there is more certainty on the progress. Thank you.
So who's next?
James Chow will speak to the KTE project.
係周生。
主席，各位議員啊，我呢度簡單介紹個觀。
I will talk about the Kwun Tong Line Extension. As for the KTE, it will be extending from Yau Ma Tei Station to Whampoa Station, and that's an intermediate station known as Ho Min Tin Station. And it's situated at the old value estates at Chatham Road. And now we are done with excavation. As for the structure of the station, now 20% are completed. You can see that now we are working at the station, and we are starting the E&N works. As for the tunnel works, from Yau Ma Tei Station to Whampoa Station, 90% of the excavation has been completed. 150 meters of tunnel near Ho Min Tin Station is not completed yet.
You can see that concerning the tunnel lining, that is completed, and near Yau Ma Tei Station we are already laying the tracks. Then for the tunnel near the Whampoa section, the tunnel lining works are going on. And you can see that near Yau Ma Tei, track laying is going on. So apart from the track works, we also have essential public infrastructure works. So we have a network of footbridges, covered walkways, subways, and also a public transport interchange. Now for the EPIW, over 60% has been completed. You see the footbridge straddling Chatham Road and linking up with Oilman Estate. Whampoa Station is the terminus for the KTE. We have the Eastern Concourse and the Western Concourse, and there is a platform tunnel linking the two concourses. And in fact, our excavation works have been completed by about 40%, and we should be able to complete the excavation of the station by the end of this year. And then for the tunnel excavation, that should be completed within the first quarter of next year. West Concourse, that's at the junction of Techman Street and Hong Ham Road. Basically, for the Whampoa Station, we don't have a works site as such. We have TTMSs to allow us to carry out works. Under the TTMSs, we need to maintain the existing carriageways and vehicular lanes. And you can see this is at the junction of Tek On Street and Shun King Street. So you can see that there is decking so that there can still be traffic flow on the road surface. And we have over 1,000 pipe piles, and they are up to 70 meters deep underground to support the deck. Because for the Whampoa area, it's congested, it's near residential developments, and so you can see that in fact the setting or the environment is very congested. So we have decking, and then we have works being carried out below the deck, and we may not be able to accommodate very big plants or machinery. We are mainly using smaller plants and machinery here. And at Whampoa, the greatest challenge is underground utilities. Whampoa is a rather old district, and there are a lot of underground pipes and utilities. Some of them are corroded. We have to replace them before there can be adequate support. So all in all, Whampoa Station is the most challenging part of the KTE. A lot of excavation work is needed, and road surface is limited, and we need TTMSs. And we are now lagging behind the original schedule by about 6 months. And we'll try to have the roads reverting to normal before the end of next year. And in the 4th quarter of this year, we'll be able to come up with a more accurate assessment on the completion date of the project. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes our presentations.
Okay. 我哋而家就
All right. Thank you. Members, this is the first round. 5 minutes, including questions and answers. Mr. Wong Kwok Heng. Chairman, I am an elected member representing the Hong Kong Island. And concerning the delay in relation to the SIL and WIL, I think this is regrettable and I'm really very discontented. Previously, MTRCL gave people the impression that it was high speed, efficient, punctual. But now, people get the impression that the MTRCL means delay. So now, members of the public have a negative image about the MTRCL. MTRCL likes to put the blame on the ground conditions. It keeps saying that the ground conditions are delicate, complicated, and so on and so forth. Now, is it that after the merger, the corporation overestimated its ability to handle the various works projects? In other words, there was overexpansion, but then inadequate capacity. And as a result, we see delays in all projects, not just 1 or 2 projects. I think you should reflect deeply upon yourselves. And I understand that the MTRCL is also expanding its presence outside Hong Kong. And so is it that MTRCL is simply unable to cope with so much work, and yet it keeps expanding and expanding. And as a result, concerning the scale of the projects, your technical capabilities, your speed, all these have become worse. So I want the MTRCL to give me a reply on this one. And then concerning monitoring done by the government. Does the government know that the MTRCL has taken on too much? It has overstated its capacity and ability to handle so many projects, and as a result, there is delay in all projects. Concerning the Sai Ying Pun Station, if the entrances can't be opened at the same time, can some of them be opened first so that the WIL can be commissioned as scheduled? This is another question that I would like to ask. And then concerning the WIL and the SIL, both are experiencing delays. So is it that the MTRCL needs to bear the extra costs arising from such delays? Such extra costs should not be borne by members of the public. And so again, I want to reply to this question. And then I want the Bureau to note the concerns of the Central and Western District Council and the Southern District Council. And within 6 months from the commissioning of this project, the the bus services must not be reduced in any way. All right, I think MTRCL can reply, and then Highways Department. Mr. Warder.
Thank you very much for the question. I hope you can see from the slides we put forth that the project teams have been working very, very hard to be able to deliver these projects. Nevertheless, we are very, very sorry to disappoint the community with the delays that we have experienced. I do believe at the time that the projects were put forth that there was a comprehensive review done in regard to the planning and the capabilities to be able to do that. MTR's presence outside of Hong Kong really has no effect upon this. We have literally only a handful of project staff outside of Hong Kong. You raised the question about the extra cost of these projects, if there is extra cost. These are projects that are ownership projects to MTR. MTR does bear the risk of construction associated with these projects. Finally, you also raised the question as to whether there was a way to be able to open up WIL Sayingpun Station with fewer entrances. I'd like to turn this over to the General Manager, Mark Kusner, to respond to that, as it's a question of safety in doing that.
Mr. Kusner, 30 seconds.
Yes.
Just to reiterate, it is the target to open Sayingpung Station in December. We're working hard to achieve that. In terms of opening the station with not all the entrances, that is not possible because of safety considerations in terms of evacuation and also ventilation requirements for the station.
Right, next. 5 minutes. But the administration has not given me a response. Under Secretary, please be concise. We don't have too many members here. Concerning monitoring, Chairman? Yes, Chairman. Concerning the railway projects under construction, the Highways Department exercises monitoring. We have dedicated teams to monitor the construction works of the MTRCL. The MTRCL gives us monthly progress reports. We have monthly progress meetings with the MTRCL. We also carry out site visits to make sure that the site situation tallies with the reports given to us by the MTRCL. So this is what we do to monitor the progress of MTRCL works. I think we'll have a chance to start the second round. Mr. Tan Kah Pew. Chairman, thank you. Tan Kah Pew, Wu Chi Wai, Elizabeth Kwok, then Chen Hang Pan, Kwok Wai Keung, Lo Wai Kwok, Sin Chung Kai. Right? Can I start, Chairman? I have a question not relating to a particular railway line. Now on the 2nd of May, the subcommittee was supposed to discuss the future development of railways. So on the 2nd of May, we discussed the XRL, and then on the 4th of July, we'll discuss the SCL. So, Chairman, will we have a special meeting in July to discuss the future development of our railways, or else we won't be able to discuss this item after in October or even in November after the summer recess, because we are concerned about residents who are not and will not be served by railways. No, these residents are as anxious as people living in the southern district, in the western district, and in Ho Man Tin. Now, for these projects, it's true that there are delays, but then Siu Sai Wan and the Northern Circular Line, what is the progress? We are, in fact, we were told that there would be a report, a study report in May, and then we were told that there would be a discussion in July. So when will we be able to discuss these possible new railway lines? So is it that these proposed railway lines will be shelved because MTRCL is causing delay to all 5 railway projects? And can the Highways Department really have the capacity to coordinate the monitoring of the MTRCL's work? Under Secretary, please. Yes, Chairman, thank you. As members are aware, we intended to have a discussion with the subcommittee on the development of new railway lines. But then in the past 2 months, we knew that there were delays in relation to the various railway projects, and LegCo members and members of the public were extremely concerned. And so we think we need to address members' concerns first. We need to explain to members the causes of such delays. And we hope that members will understand that in taking forward railway projects, there are always challenges, difficulties, and risks. We think that we should give clear explanations to LegCo and to members of the public first, and then we will discuss how we should take forward future railway projects. And I understand that members are concerned about the monitoring role played by the government. And also, members are concerned about the role of the MTRCL responsible for the construction works. So we need to look at all these factors very carefully before we decide how to take forward future railway projects. So we're not going to shelve future or new railway projects. We will come back to the subcommittee later. When? When do you mean by later? Is it that we'll have to wait till the panel headed by the retired judge has completed its work and published its report? And is it that we have to wait till the unemployment rate rises and as a result the government will say, good news for you, there will be new jobs because there will be new railway projects? The MTRCL is at the moment responsible for 5 railways. Yes, I understand that the MTRCL needs to concentrate its efforts on the 5 railways. But then I am asking about planning. And I think construction works and planning work are separate. Undersecretary. In fact, in a policy address, the CE said that we would have a discussion with members on the long-term development of our railway network. In fact, we intended to have a discussion with members in the middle of the year. But then we are of the view that we should really clarify the situation concerning the projects under construction first. And I think we understand that the subcommittee can't have meetings too often, but we'll arrange a meeting with members later.
I want to clarify, is the report being written or what? For that, document is already been written. Of course, we are still fine-tuning it, and we are still trying to improve it. However, I think at the moment we are very concerned about not only the overall development of railways, is also about Hong Kong's ability to build new railways, etc. So all these have to be taken into account. But I agree with the member. Yes, in terms of long-term planning is very important, and it's not directly related to the projects we are talking about now. Well, can we hold a special meeting in July? Well, maybe I can share with you. I have talked to the Bureau, and they say that they need more time to look at all the issues. Because, well, at the next meeting, they will have to tell us which company is responsible for building what. So we give them a date. That is at the end of September, we want to hold a meeting, but we haven't got a reply from them yet. Well, that's after our trip to Singapore. And after that trip, I think we can hold a meeting. So I've given them a date, but the government hasn't given me an answer yet. Okay, this is what I want to tell you. Well, Chairman, I hope that during the summer holiday, for example, in the middle of September, well, I understand that there's an overseas visit, so I'm trying to find a date. Yes, I understand. Next, Mr. Wu Jiwai. Thank you, Chairman. For the XLL, that's a delay. And now we're talking about SIL, WIL, and KTE, and that's also delay. And just now, the Director of Highway said that the department is monitoring this project very stringently. Despite this, we only heard the news at a very late stage. So I would like to ask this question again. With regard to these 3 projects, when did the Director of Highway know that there was delay, and why did he decide to inform the public at such a late stage? And that's question number 1. And question number 2, with regard to the delay in railway constructions, does it reflect that the highways department is not discharging its duty and is not playing its role? Now, you have been attending progress meetings with the MTLCL, but you've just been listening to the reports, and you may just pay some site visits from time to time. Do you really have the ability to monitor them? Now, some of the old engineers and technicians of the Kwun Tong Railway have retired. And the government looks like a child in the face of a giant. You simply do not have the ability to face him. So internally, in the government, do you have enough railway experts and experts in project management? For example, it's like the former boss of Kwun Tong Railway, Mr. Blake. He had a lot of experience. So you do not have that kind of experts in the government. And for MTLCL's capability, maybe it doesn't have enough capacity to construct so many railways. And that's from the reply of Mr. Chiu Tai-chong some time ago. But the Undersecretary said that, well, there is no such worry. So why does the government think so? Mr. Chiu Tai-chong is very familiar with the construction railway, so why are you objecting to his views? Well, Chairman, maybe I can answer the members' questions first, and then I will ask the Director of Highways to supplement. Now, with regard to the monitoring of railway constructions and the relevant framework, I would like to explain to members. Actually, it's divided into two types. Now, for the construction of railways, well, it's divided into two approaches: ownership approach and the concession approach. Under the concession approach, the government would commission the MTLCL to build the railways. As for the ownership approach, the railway is owned by the MTLCL, including its extensions. Well, it should also bear the relevant responsibilities. So when it comes for the responsibility for financing, design, etc., all these are the responsibilities of the MTLCL. So the highway department is just to monitor. And the roles played by the highways department are different when it comes to ownership approach and concession approach. So these two approaches cannot be compared or mentioned in one breath. And a member asked about the remarks made by Mr. Chiu Tai-chong earlier to the press. Maybe I can ask Mr. Chiu to explain his own words. But when we plan for railways, the MTLCL would submit plans to us, and the MTLCL would consider its own ability and capacity. It would make its own assessment. And for the past 5 projects, the MTLCL considered that it had the capability to handle all of them. In the past few years, Hong Kong's economy has changed, and there may be new restrictions. For example, we may not have enough manpower. So that's why these have created problems for the projects. Ms. Kwok, you do not want Mr. Chiu to answer the questions? If we go on like this and we do not have enough time, actually it was because the Undersecretary's answer was too long. Or we will still have a second round. Otherwise, you will be using 7 minutes. Maybe you can reduce the number of your questions. Ms. Kwok, in the past 2 months, we have heard a lot of news about the delay in railway constructions. And at each meeting, we ask whether other projects are affected. The answer is always no, but now we got this new bad news. I think Mr. Warder cannot shirk his responsibility. Every time he said sorry, he says it's regrettable. However, I don't think the public would accept this. So I would like to ask these questions. So what would you do if you think it's so regrettable? Do you think your salary should be cut?
Thank you. I do feel disappointed to the communities, as we have said, on the projects we have here today. I would also note very, very good progress that has been made in many parts of the project. The South Island line, for example, all of the work on the south side is proceeding very well. We're 87% through the Nam Phuong Tunnel. We've had a particular difficulty in one location. Similarly, in regard to the Kwun Tong Line Extension. However, you are correct to say that we've fallen short of public expectations. We need to look and see how we can do better and not be in that position. And I certainly accept the responsibility for the corporation in terms of falling short of public expectations. The board of MTR through Remuneration Committee will look at this, looks at performance for myself as well as for all of the senior management of MTR. We all support that process in doing it. I think the most important thing for us right now is frankly to be able to give an open, transparent assessment of where we stand, to be able to talk with you and with the community about what it will take to be able to complete these projects, to engage, continue to engage openly about doing it, and to bring them to completion.
Well, Chairman, my question is that I think that Mr. Water is the CEO. He should take the initiative to shoulder the responsibility, and he should put forward some proposals that are acceptable to the public. But now he's he's passing the buck to the board of directors. But I don't think he will answer my question today. So I would like to ask the administration. Now we are talking about 5 new lines, and there are delays in all of them. So how much extra cost are we talking about, and how's that cost going to be paid? Now for these 5 railway lines, 3 of them are owned by the MTRCL because we are using the ownership approach. So for all the costs incurred, they should be borne by the MTRCL. As for the 2 other railways that are under the concession approach, I think it is too early for us to talk about extra costs. Now, there may be a lot of claims when it comes to the construction works, but we will have to scrutinize them in great details before we know the exact number. Well, the government holds 70% of MTRCL's shares. So I think the taxpayers would have to pay. Yes, that's what I want to say too. Now, in the agreement signed by the government and the MTRCL, if the projects cannot be, or the railway lines cannot be commissioned on time, should MTRCL be paying for it? Now, in the agreement, the MTRCL undertakes that it will do its best to complete the projects. If not, then of course we will have to seek legal advice and see how we should follow up. Chairman, I hope the administration can give us an explanation in writing. Now we are talking about delays in so many railway lines. We want to know the exact extra cost incurred, and we want to know more about the compensation arrangement. Now the commissioning dates of many lines are delayed. So how much economic loss are we suffering as a society? And also will it affect other railway projects? And residents of different districts are asking if there will be compensation because commissioning dates are delayed. For example, for WIL, if the commissioning dates cannot be met, then the traffic arrangement would have to be coordinated again. So, Undersecretary, please give her a an answer in writing. Yes, we can provide you with some of the figures, but we may not have all the figures. Just try your best. Vice Chairman Chen Hangban. Thank you, Chairman. For the MTRCL, well, how many lines are being built? I think all of them will be delayed. Can we see one single line that will be completed on time? I don't think so. So yes, I know there are a lot of difficulties when it comes to building underground railways. And I know that a lot of people are working very hard for these projects. Of course, the delay disappoints a lot of people. However, I think it's a problem with the management and the government. It's not a matter of ability, it's a matter of attitude. According to the paper, I see that the MTRCL does not pay a lot of attention to Highway Department's monitoring. Let us look at paragraph 24 of the paper. In March 2013, the Highway Department has sent a letter to MTRCL asking whether that's delayed, but MTRCL has been saying that it's been discussing it with colleagues. And then in 2014, February, there was a reply from the MTRCL. And then in May 2014, the MTRCL said that it's working very hard. And they say that the target date will be 2015. But then in June, MTRCL informed the THB saying that there will be another 6-month delay. So for the MTRCL reply, I think is quite reckless. So you are not always willing to answer the Highways Department.
Now let's look at the KTE. Now, in fact, the Highways Department at a very early stage noticed delays, and the Highways Department asked the MTRCL for explanations, and I don't know whether explanations were given to the Highways Department. And then in April 2014, Highways Department wrote to you, and then in May you said 2015 okay, but then in June you said 2015 not okay. There would be a 6-month delay. So can I ask the MTRCL this question? Why is it that you are not taking the Highways Department's monitoring seriously? Why is it that you are so indifferent to the monitoring? Is it that you think you are high and almighty, you don't need to be monitored by the Highways Department? Why are you showing such contempt? And then can I ask the Highways Department whether you admit that you don't have the ability to monitor this monster?
See Chu to speak to this.
Mr. Chu?
Thank you for asking the question.
聽唔到。
Hello? 聽到嗎?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I have illustrated many a time that we work really closely with the Highway Department. Yes, they do raise question and express concern. We responded by indicating the delay recovery measure that we are putting in place. None of us want any delay. We work, as quite rightly pointed out, we work very, very hard in managing those delays. If you look at the whole detail of the various projects, the volume of difficulty and overcome to bring us where we are today, that on Kwun Tong Line, we are able to achieve on target the completion of all the tunnel drive except at Wang Pao Station. And we say why in Wang Pao Station we have difficulty.
Mr. Chow, I'm not asking you about the difficulties that you encountered. I understand that there are difficulties associated with railway construction, but I'm asking you about how you responded to the Highways Department's monitoring. Why is it that Highways Department wrote to you and you responded only a year later?
We respond in meeting, discussion on a regular basis. We respect, we engineer work together to find solution. We do respect and we do respond accordingly. But the accumulation of delay is one issue after another we need to resolve and tackle until we finally overcome all the difficulty. That delay still remain on the table, and we explain it very clearly in our day-to-day discussion or week-to-week discussion with the highway engineer. There is no question that we are not working together.
So, how do you view the Highways Department in your heart? Do you think it is responsible for monitoring you? What do you think is the role of the Highways Department?
They are our partner in delivering infrastructure project for Hong Kong. Just like our contractor is our partner, we work together to deliver what is important to Hong Kong as quickly as possible. We have every respect for every individual because we are all professional working for the common goal to build infrastructure for Hong Kong.
Okay,
Can I ask the administration to also give a reply? Can you ask the Highways Department to also say a few words? Please be brief, because we should be able to have a second round. Yes, I thank the member for his question. Now, as stated in the paper, the NTRCL did not give us formal replies, but then responses were given during meetings, progress meetings. I want to say that concerning progress of works, it's really a very fluid situation. And so during meetings, we were briefed on the progress, and I think this arrangement is reasonable. I think time's up. Sorry. Thank you, Chairman.
The SIL and the KTE will now both incur a delay of 6 months. But the announcement was that it's to be updated by the end of 2014, which is the end of this year. I would like to know what is the meaning of the statement. Is a 6-month delay a best-case scenario, and that the worst is yet to come, to be known by the end of this year? In other words, it could be actually a year, year and a half delay. So please let us know. The 6 months delay, is that the best-case scenario or the worst case?
The 6-month delay reflects the delay that we have on the project as of this point in time. As the general managers have gone through, both SIL and KTE continue to have challenging aspects of those projects. While we're 87% through the Nam Fung Tunnel, there's another 13% to be completed. The underpinning work has been demonstrated in the presentation that we went through. The difficulty of excavation at KTE remains very difficult. What we'd like to do is to come back to the committee later this year. We will have more information at that time. We will have cleared some of the challenges that we have in front of us, and we can give a much more certain date and precise
I understand
information.
that. So basically you're telling us the 6-month delay is the best-case scenario, correct?
We continue to work.
It can be worse, but it won't be better, right?
We continue to work to try to recover time on the projects, and we will. And the team is doing that and has worked hard to be able to do that. And I'm hopeful that we'll be able to recover time. But I would also say that there are very, very real challenges in front of us still. You saw some of the complexity of the work.
So is this the best case or worst case scenario, Mr. Waldo?
6 months reflects what we know right now.
Okay.
And we will come back later this year to give you a more precise outcome. In other words,
6 months delay reflect what you know right now. It does not include what you don't know. And if you count into, in the future, you add on to things that you don't know, this becomes a best case scenario, right? I just want to have a clear response from you.
I'm trying to be clear, Mr. Chairman. Clearly, I can't give you a precise estimate about what we don't know. I can only give you an estimate about what we do know right now.
I'm only asking whether this is the best case scenario.
I remain hopeful that we'll be able to make up time. I do not have a precise answer to give you at this point in time. TC, do you have a better way to say that?
Chairman.
Actually, thank you. That's all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to ask a question about the monitoring role played by the Highways Department. Para 14 mentions monitoring. It mentions monitoring about the traffic conditions with the implementation of the TTMS. So it seems that you are only monitoring one aspect of the works. Did you also monitor the MTRCL's progress so that all the railway projects would be completed as scheduled in accordance with the baseline program? And Mr. Chu said that you were a partner. So can I ask the Undersecretary this question? Are you a partner of the MTRCL, or are you responsible for monitoring the MTRCL? In Para 14, it says you monitor the TTMSs. Do you also monitor the timely completion and commissioning of the railway projects? Undersecretary, Chairman, as I have pointed out just now, the 3 railway projects in question are ownership projects. And they are different from concession projects. The MTRCL owns these railways. And so MTRCL showed us a very heavy responsibility. Now, according to the agreement with the MTRCL, MTRCL will use its best endeavors to complete the railway projects on time. So, are you MTRCL's partner or are you a monitoring organ? Chairman, it depends on, timely commissioning of the railways. Only on this aspect, timely commissioning of the railways. Now, in the agreements between us and the MTRCL, MTRCL must use its best endeavors to ensure the timely commissioning of the railways. So, concerning timely commissioning of the railways, you are stressing that you play a monitoring role and you are not MTRCL's partner. Is that right? But nothing is mentioned about your monitoring role in this paper in this regard. Chairman, as I've explained just now, these are ownership projects. The MTRCL is in line with the MTRCL's interest to ensure timely completion of the railways. So you are only concerned about railway projects funded by the government. For ownership projects, you are only a partner of the MTRCL. Is that right? Now let me explain the government's role. In fact, it's clearly stated in the paper concerning whether we are a partner of the MTRCL. In fact, we are also partners with members. We all want to see the timely completion and commissioning of the railway projects. Mr. Kwok, we see delays for all 5 railway projects. Hong Kong people are disappointed. They feel frustrated and angry. Such delays will affect all the 7 million people in Hong Kong. According to the Undersecretary, there was an assessment of MTRCL's capacity and capability before the works commenced. And I think we can conclude that MTRCL overestimated its ability and capacity. And second, I think the government has trusted the wrong organization. You have mistrusted MTRCL. All right, according to the paper, there will definitely be delays. WIL 1 quarter, SIL 6 months. So we know the delays. The delays are clearly stated in the paper. But what are the commissioning dates? We don't have the commissioning dates. The MTRCL keeps blaming the ground conditions. The rocks are too hard. The soil is too soft. But if the MTRCL had stated that there weren't enough workers, I'm sure the LAB would have given the application favorable consideration. And now you are putting the blame on the ground conditions, on lack of labor. Now, Undersecretary, so it seems that you are satisfied with the MTRCL's reply that it will use its best endeavors. I don't think this is an excuse that can be accepted for the delay. I think there is a lot of covering up. Now, and I want to say this. The shop operators in the works area will be adversely affected. The delays will affect the business turnover of the shops. So can I ask you whether you will take the initiative to talk to the shop operators on compensation matters? And please do not respond only when you are approached by the shop operators. Please do not make shop operators look like debt collecting agents. Yesterday I went to the Wong Chuk Hang Cook Food Center. The operators can't do any business. They are suffering. So will you take the initiative to talk to affected shop operators? Undersecretary. Chairman, concerning people who suffer losses because of railway works, there is a mechanism under the Railways Ordinance. Claims can be made in writing to our Bureau. And under the mechanism, there is no need for these people to resort to judicial proceedings. Now, of course, the losses suffered by different operators or different people vary, but then there is a mechanism in the Railways Ordinance. So we can provide the information under the Railways Ordinance to those concerned. Under Secretary, I think you should take the initiative to distribute claims forms to the affected operators, proactively approach these operators, ask them whether they have been affected, ask them if they want to seek claims. Under Secretary, we can't generalize in this manner. Now, of course, we do not want to see delays. We don't want to see people adversely affected by railway projects and delays. But then, as the CEO has pointed out, concerning works sites, the roads, we understand that the works sites will be handed back to the community as scheduled. And so those operating ground floor spaces may not be adversely affected. But we're talking about a delay of 6 months. Now, in fact, the CEO has already explained this, but I think I'll invite MTRCL to say more about handing over the works sites to the community. I think we'll have to wait for the next round. Mr. Low Wai Kwok.
Chairman. For railway engineers, these 5 projects are indeed great challenges. Well, Hong Kong is very small, but there are 5 important railway projects going on. Moreover, these projects are implemented at more or less the same time. For example, earlier on, excavations were done at almost the same time, and now they are all doing E&M works. So earlier on at our meeting, I asked a question about manpower. And now we are at this stage. We are not too concerned about excavation or geotechnical issues. We are talking about E&M works. For example, WIL. For Hong Kong U, for the Hong Kong U station, the elevations in the site are of great difference, but now it's on time. So I would like to congratulate them. However, there are problems with Sai Ying Pun station. But how about manpower issues? Is there still a manpower shortage now? And for all these projects that are implemented at the same time, I don't think the government or the MTRCL want to do it. But due to political reasons, that's why all these projects are being carried out at the same time now. As for the commissioning of WIL, is expected to be in December this year. If Sai Ying Pun Station really encounters so many problems, so this is not an assumption now. So objectively, it's not feasible to open it, right? So, and you have a backup plan. So the backup plan is that we do not commission this station at the same time, but the trains will go to the other stations. Well, I think this is not that unusual in overseas countries. I just visited Paris, and this train didn't stop at certain stations. It's just because the stations were being maintained. So I don't think it's that unusual. We are just talking about 2 months, so it is not an assumption. Now you have to ensure that the test runs are okay, and then the WIL will be commissioned as scheduled, although the Sai Ying Pun station will be skipped. I think this is feasible. And here's another question. So I asked a question, one about manpower, the other about Sai Ying Pun Station, and the third question about SIL. I understand that there is a huge technical challenge at MOT station. Just now we heard about the detailed explanation in the presentation. Now you have to do a lot of underpinning works so that the MOT station can still operate safely. Yet underneath there are a lot of works being carried out. I understand that there are a lot of difficulties. Now, of course, when there's a delay, somebody has to shoulder the responsibility because you have promised us a certain commissioning date, so there should be no excuse. However, can you also explain to me about something? Now, lately, the press has been saying that there are cracks seen at the MOT station. So are there structural problems or are this just superficial cracks? So no matter how much delay we are talking about, safety is very important. Mr. Lo Wai Kwok, you asked a lot of questions. You asked 3 questions. I think the last question is not related to what we're talking about. I think it's related. It's about the SIL.
Very quickly, first off, to underscore that safety is our highest priority. I appreciate the point that is being made in regard to the spalling of concrete. It is surface spalling. It is not in any way a safety issue. I will ask TC to speak very quickly to the manpower issues in general, and then Mark to speak both to Sai Ying Pun and the technical challenges.
Okay, you only have 20 seconds, huh? Please.
Well, just to give you some number, at middle of this year, at mid-2014, at the peak of our construction activities, we require around 18,000 workers, and we are currently 4,000 short. So it confirmed Mr. Lowe's comment on labor challenges, but we are finding different methods to overcome the difficulty, including recruitment and training of people working. Mark, you want to explain?
Very quickly.
Just confirm that we are targeting to open Sai Ying Pun in December. Our current progress will achieve that.
Okay. Sin Chung Kai Yi.
Mr. Sin Chung Kai, I think some other colleagues have expressed my views. However, I think we are doomed to see a delay, although we do not want to see that. Now, the MPRCL is trying to recover the delay. However, worksite safety is the most important thing. Although you are trying to recover the delay, I hope that safety can be ensured, and I hope that you should conduct enough test runs because we do not want to see any disaster. I would like to ask the Bureau, the Undersecretary, something. Just now, you didn't give us a very concrete answer. Now the bus companies are talking about changing bus lines or reducing frequencies. Now we do not have exact commissioning dates for WIL and SIL yet. So can the Undersecretary assure us that enough bus service will be provided? Mr. Wang Kwok-hing says that it hopes that bus service would not change in the 6 months following the commissioning of the 2 lines. Well, we do not know the exact commissioning dates. And even though we know the commissioning dates, we don't want the bus service to be changed immediately. We want the lines to run smoothly first. And we want passengers to get accustomed to the new line first before any change in bus service. And I have a question for the MTRCL. Now for Sai Ying Pun Station, there are problems. You answered the question just now, but that's not very clear. So if it's safe, well, there are several entrances. So can some of the entrances operate first? Undersecretary. Now we want to ensure that the commuting of Hong Kong people will not be a factor. So if WIL cannot operate completely, the bus services and minibus services would not be changed. So when the whole line is through, and when we have an exact date of that, we will make changes to the bus and minibus services. And for your other question, you say that you hope that 6 months after commissioning, there won't be any change in bus services. Yes, we will do this by stages. We would not make changes immediately after the commissioning of the new lines. We know that the residents would have to get accustomed to the new arrangements. As for the exact days, I think the Transport Department will be talking to the different communities. How about the SIL? It's the same. This is our major principle. So first we have to fix the commissioning days, and then we will look at the changes in bus and minibus service. So no change on day one. I think there are still differences in our views. So when you make changes to bus and minibus services, even though it's in stages, I hope that you won't do it immediately. You may not accept a period of 6 months, but I think 3 months would be the basic requirements, and you have to do it in batches. I think that would be more acceptable and less impactful.
You raised the question of workplace safety. I want to be very, very clear. It is a huge priority for us in what we're doing, and we try to ensure workplace safety for our staff, for our contractors, obviously for our customers, and for the community being there as well. You also raised the question about adequate time for testing and trial operations. You will have seen in the slide that we put up for the West Island line a very specific point in time for that. If you want, we can speak more to that. Francis Lee is here from operations, but we appreciate the point again that you're making about the importance of this for the railway. For Sai Ying Pun Station, I will ask Mark to speak in more detail about the constraint in terms of the operation there.
Just quickly then, for the station Sai Ying Pun, we need all 3 entrances in order to operate the station. One reason is to evacuate the passengers safely in an emergency, also to bring ventilation into the station, and finally to avoid congestion when the station is operating.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yes, we are all very concerned about these delays. As for Hong Kong's railways, I think they have very high standard, and they have won a lot of praises from tourists and Hong Kong people. Well, but would this make the MTRCL complacent so that is taking up so many projects, and it has not assessed the problems brought about by these projects? Would that be the case? I have read the paper and have heard the presentation. Well, I'm afraid that MTRCL will now lose its confidence completely. Now, why is that? For the construction of the WIL, it says that in October this year, the exact commissioning date will be announced. Well, that will be very close to December, the originally scheduled commissioning date. Now, when we talk about huge projects like this, we are talking about years. And now they cannot meet the deadlines, and so that's why there are a lot of comments and criticisms. Of course, I understand that they have a lot of experts and they are very careful. So I'm afraid now they are losing all their confidence. So they are saying that they will give you an exact date in October. And it seems there's no plan. And Highways Department is the monitor, and there are dedicated teams, and they have meetings, and there are reports. So for this dedicated team, does it have its own opinion, or it just listens to what the MTRCL says, because MTRCL is so experienced? And then suddenly we heard about the bad news of the XLL, and it will be delayed for 20 months. So would the Highways Department be just listening? Does it have its own professional views? or does it assess the commissioning date by itself? For the new commissioning date, it cannot be advanced. Is that a reasonable assessment? And what is Highways Department's opinion? Does it think that the MTRCL is too aggressive or what? So, MTRCL, have you lost all your confidence?
You see on the West Island Line, we've been very clear that we believe the West Island Line will open at the end of this year. The works for train operations are complete. We are already running trains through from the existing Island Line to the West Island Line. That testing and commissioning process is already underway. For the Kennedy Town Station, as you saw in the pictures, it's very far advanced. For HKU, it's very far advanced, with still work to be done on lifts in that station. The big question and the sole question for us is whether we will be able to complete the Sai Ying Pung Station in time for that opening. That involves both civil construction work that has to take place and the installation of lifts. And we have a plan to be able to do that. We believe we can do it, but there is no float in that plan at all. Rather than give anybody an impression that we're sure we can be able to do it, we would rather evaluate the situation over the coming months, see that we're achieving the schedule that we're putting forth, and then be able to speak to people in October in regard to the firm opening. If we cannot do the opening of the Sai Ying Pung Station, we still expect to open the line at the end of the year, and we do expect to run through that station in a safe manner.
All right, I understand. Highways Department. 6 months delay. Is this a pessimistic projection or an optimistic projection or a reasonable projection? We do not just receive reports from the MTRCL and believe in what the MTRCL says. In fact, for the SIL, as early as in March 2012, we detected delays and we asked the MTRCL whether the railway would be completed in a timely manner. Now, we asked questions. We also did coordinating work. But can you tell me your assessment with regard to their projection of 6 months delay? Pessimistic, optimistic? So we have to get the MTRCL's timetable and then we can come up with our independent assessment. They've said 6 months and Mr. Chair is asking you whether this projection is overly optimistic, overly pessimistic or just right. We have to have the detailed timetable from the MTRCL before we can come to our own judgment. We can't make an assessment purely on the MTRCL's projection that the delay will be for 6 months. But we need your independent assessment. Who should we believe? Ms. Helena Wong. Now concerning KTE Whampoa Station, Chairman, we are told that there will be a delay of 6 months. And may I refer to para 27 of the paper. And it doesn't say when the railway can be commissioned. You will give us an assessment towards the end of this year. So does it mean that the delay may be more than 6 months? Or is it that you can come to an assessment only towards the end of the year? So when will you be able to more accurately assess the commissioning date?
The work that we're doing there and the assessment process that we have to make.
主席，黃議員啦。
Yes, Chairman, Ms. Wong. For Whampoa Station, there is a delay of 6 months. And we are pressing ahead with the construction of Whampoa Station. For the excavation works, we've already completed about 40%, and we still have to carry out about 50% of the excavation works. And the main uncertainty is with the platform tunnel, and we will start work only in the third quarter of this year. And that's why we are saying that towards the end of the year, we'll be able to more accurately assess the completion date of Whampoa Station. But then before you started the excavation, you had already had the target of commissioning the railway in 2015. So why is it that now you are saying that because of the tunnel works, you can't come up with an accurate projection? Now, because for Whampoa Station, for the TTMSs, relocation of the utilities, and also the pipes, pipe piles, and also the utilities. In fact, there was delay, and we were, of course, trying to make up for the lost time. And then concerning the pipe piles, they were completed in the first quarter of this year. And as a result, we were in a better position to assess the utilities underground. But then we still have tunnel works to be carried out. And Whampoa used to be a dockyard. It's near the shoreline. And when we did the pipe piles, we knew that there were lots of geological complications. So you're saying that there was reclamation, and as a result, there were geological changes? Whampoa used to be a dockyard. And the channel was dredged and then filled, because this area is near to the old shoreline, and so there are more geological variations. And when we did the pipe piles, we didn't expect that we had to go down 70 meters deep. But the reality was that we had to go down 70 meters deep, and as a result, the works and the TTMSs became more complicated. But then I believe you knew before works started that Whampoa used to be a dockyard. So was it that there was no ground investigation work carried out? Was it that you weren't aware of the geological variations at that time? Now, normally, before works start, we carry out advanced investigation, including the soil conditions, the underground utilities, the risks, the tidal marks, and so on and so forth. We have a residential estate at Whampoa, and we did carry out some advanced works before work started. But then, there was there was the residential development, and the shopping mall was busy, and it was a private street, and so there were constraints when we carried out the investigation. Ground investigation. We did carry out ground investigation. We collected old photos of the dockyard. But then, but of course, that was only the preliminary ground investigation work. So can I ask you, what have come up unexpected to you? You said there was the private street, and then of course, were the drains or the pipes corroded, and as a result, that caused delay. In fact, there are a lot of challenges associated with Whampoa Station. Underground utilities is one problem. Corroded pipes is another problem. Uncharted utilities is another problem. And the underground utilities were more complicated than we had expected. You mean the drains, the sewage pipes, and also there was a problem of uncharted utilities. But then concerning the corroded pipes, do you require Whampoa Garden to replace the corroded pipes so that works can be carried out more smoothly? Time's up, Ms. Helena Wong. Can you let them answer this question too? Basically, for the utilities or pipes encountered in the excavation, we replaced them. Who replaced them? Whampoa Gardens or MTRCL? I think time's up. Second round now. Wong Kwok Heng, Wu Chi Wai, Chen Hang Pan, I myself, and Helena Wong, and Mr. Tan Ka Piu. All right. 3 minutes for each member. And we can, of course, extend the meeting by 15 minutes so that everybody will have a chance to ask his or her questions. Mr. Wong Kwok Heng, my question is very simple. In fact, it's a follow-up on your previous question. The MTR said that in October this year, it would again assess the situation and came up with a projection on the completion and commissioning dates of the railways. Now, so can I ask the administration about its view on this projection or assessment to be done by the MTRCL in October? What role are you going to play in this exercise? And will you again be caught by surprise by the announcement of the MTRCL to be made in October? Director of Highways will answer this question. Thank you, Mr. Wong. Now, this refers to the WIL concerning an assessment of October. This is about the WIL. As MTRCL has pointed out, it's a very tight schedule. In fact, we now require MTRCL to give us weekly reports. So, in fact, we've stepped up monitoring. In fact, we also pay carry out site visits. And we've also done coordination work to try to assist the MTRCL. For example, Exit B1 and Exit B2 approval is needed from the Buildings Department under the Buildings Ordinance. And we've talked to the Buildings Department, asking the department to give approval to the MTRCL as soon as possible so the MTRCL can press ahead with the works. And so we are receiving weekly reports, and so in October we will be better equipped to assess whether the railway can be completed on time. So in other words, when an announcement is made by MTRCL in October, that announcement will have already been approved by the Highways Department or endorsed by the Highways Department. Is that right? Director, now concerning the commissioning date mentioned by the MTRCL, of course, we will say whether we agree or disagree after we've studied all the information available. Mr. Wu Chi Wai, I think the most surprising reply we've heard today has come from Mr. Yao. He said that the projects were ownership projects. And the way the Highways Department monitors these projects is different from the way the government monitors entrusted projects. Now, I want to tell Mr. Yao this. Government is the largest shareholder of the MTRCL. And also for the SIL, one site has been given to the MTRCL. That's in Wong Chuk Hang. And then for the WIL, $9.9 billion have been given to the MTRCL. And then for the KTE, again, there is a site made available to the MTRCL, the Ho Man Tin Estate. Please don't tell me that the government's role is different as these are ownership projects. And second, for SIL, WIL, there are dedicated teams headed by the chief engineer. So, such a monitoring mechanism is similar to that for the XRL. So my question is whether within the government there are sufficient experienced engineers to supervise and monitor railway works. Now, because most of the experts in railway construction have joined the MTRCL, most of them are working for the MTRCL. So is there enough expertise within the government? Are there enough experts within the government to monitor the work of the MTRCL? And then MTRCL said that there would be 6 months delay. I still haven't got a reply from the MTRCL as to whether this is the best scenario or the worst scenario. 6 months delay. Is this the best scenario or the worst scenario? So in doing your monitoring, the government can only believe in what the MTRCL tells it. And you can only appear like puppets before this subcommittee and answer questions in this manner. So is it that the Highways Department is simply not capable of monitoring the work of the MTRCL? Is it that the dedicated teams are not competent enough to monitor the MTRCL works? But I want to tell you that, in fact, we use a lot of public funds. A lot of funds are required to pay the salaries of dedicated teams for XRL. We're talking about a 13-member team. Thank you. Mr. Chen Hangpan, I want to ask the Highways Department this question. The MTRCL has regarded you as a partner. So have you ever tried to monitor the MTRCL? Or is it that you and the MTRCL merely keep patting each other's shoulder? So do you know what your position is? So is it that you think you two are working in partnership and so you will just sort things out among yourselves? So I really want to know your role, the Highways Department's role in these projects. Undersecretary, yes, let me say something concerning the monitoring role of the government. In fact, we've explained in paragraph 14 and 15 the Highways Department's role. The Highways Department plays a coordinating role as well as a monitoring role. And I want to say that the extent of these roles varies with an ownership project and a concession project. But I do agree with Mr. Wu that we cannot wash our hands of ownership projects simply because they are ownership projects. Public resources are involved in ownership projects, and also such projects do affect the residents. So it is not that the Highways Department doesn't play any monitoring role concerning ownership projects. In fact, Highways Department is eager to make sure that such projects proceed smoothly, and we have the responsibility to make sure that projects are completed on time and disruption to people and shops in the vicinity is kept to a minimum.
翻整個嘅監督鐵路嘅我知道你用我嘅時間答其他議員嘅問題。我知道，即係我想帶翻呢個同樣嘅問題就係話咧，其實咧政府會喺呢方面咧會檢討一下，日後咧推動鐵路裏邊咧嗰個監督角色係應該要點樣做得更好。呢點我就係要回答呢個問題。咁至於具體嗰個所謂監管嘅層次或者呢樣嘢，我想處長可以簡單答答。
多謝主席，多謝陳議員嘅問題。就即係個角色。
Now, in the paper, we can see that the Highways Department is playing two roles, the coordinating role and a monitoring role. We will monitor the works of the MTRCL. And also, it is stated in the paper that when we play the monitoring role, for the WIL and the SIL, we have already declared in an early stage that there were problems. And we also played a role as a coordinator. We are not just a partner. We understand that the community wants these projects to be completed as early as possible. So we are also playing a coordinating role. We will coordinate with other government departments so that when the MTRCL carries out its works, things can go more smoothly and rapidly. So the government is both a coordinator and a monitor, but the MTRCL thinks you are a partner and you should be working for them, right? To be fair, I think we should start counting from zero.
As 2 months ago in April and 1 month ago in May, you've given written response to the government that all the lines will be completed according to schedule. And on May 29, you visited the South Island, the Southern District Council, and also expressed that you have full confidence you can meet the 2015 deadline. A month later, everything took a different turn. Everything became 6 months. Even at that particular level, it's a, as we can hear it, a best case scenario. I just want to know, is LegCo the only institution that would be able to make MTR come clean and review the actual situation? Because the only difference I could see between May and now is that you have to come to LegCo. So we have taken over the role of government and the Highways Department. Mr. Walden?
No, I would not agree with that, although we obviously take very seriously our appearance before LegCo. I think we have consistently said that the projects we're talking about, KTE and SIL, have had challenges, that we've been implementing delay recovery measures on those projects, and we've spoken quite a bit about that. The works at Admiralty, for example, have been discussed quite a lot in terms of the challenges and the complexities that were there. We committed, following XRL, to look at every one of our projects comprehensively to ensure that we're engaging with the community in an open and transparent way.
Mr. Walter, my question is, you've given written response to government as recent as a month ago, but today it's a different scenario altogether. What prompted the change in attitude?
I think the responses we've gave even a month ago were noting the challenges associated with the projects. However, as we looked at the schedules now, we believe that the accumulation of challenge and the time left...
It has nothing to do with your appearance in LegCo today, is that it?
It has to do with the fact that we have undertaken a comprehensive review of each of the projects, and that we have said that we would commit in a very open and transparent way.
What do you think, government? Is that such a big change from a month ago? The only difference is that they have appeared in LegCo. Well, Chairman, the Highways Department has all along known that there have been delays in the projects and the projects have been facing difficulties. And their judgment at that time was that they could recover the delay. However, at the end of May, they told us that there have been changes. If we know about these changes and if the commissioning dates are changed, of course, we have to explain to members. Next, Ms. Wong. Well, just now I asked questions about Wangpo Station and the underground utilities, in particular the sewage pipes. What are the conditions? Do they have to be replaced in a large scale so that the project can go on? And does the MTRCL replace the pipes, or Wangpo would be responsible for replacing the pipes? Well, for the Wangpo Station, they for the sewage pipes, we just excavate to the top level. We discovered that some of the pipes are aged, and we replace those pipes. So the MTRCL project would include replacing the old pipes, right? That's within our excavation sites. Ms. Wong, any follow-up questions? No. We hope that the MTLCO can work as fast as possible because Wangpo Garden, tonight they will be holding an owners meeting. They want to know whether the pipe works, are the major reasons for delaying the project. Well, just now I've talked about the underground utilities, and the aging of such utilities is one of the major reasons because we couldn't see such aging condition when we look at the photos. So we are trying to speed up the whole thing. Well, Mr. Chow, 1 month ago you said that you can meet the deadline, but now you are saying you cannot. So within the last month you discovered all these old pipes? Well, Ms. Wong asked us questions. So all this happened in 1 month? What happened in the last month that caused such a change? Now, in the first quarter of this year, we did our piling works, and then we made an overall assessment of the whole project. So when you wrote to the government, you haven't done an assessment. Well, the assessment was underway then. Also, the assessments were all completed in the last month. What a coincidence. Now, for the whole meeting today, I think we have learned a concept, that is, ownership approach is very different from concession approach, and there are two ways of monitoring them. So can the government provide us with another paper on these two approaches? Please tell us clearly. And this also informs my earlier question. Now, we will be having new projects. So which approach will be adopted for the new projects? So we are very concerned about the future railway projects. If it's the ownership approach, and if extra costs are incurred, then yes, the government will not have to pay, but the government cannot really monitor such projects. But for the concession projects, if extra costs are incurred, then the government would have to pay, right? And then I want to ask another question about WIL, which will be commissioned very soon. And for SIL, I'm not sure, so maybe within 1 year or so. So for these 3 new lines, when it comes to operation, maintenance, etc., in particular maintenance, they are all the responsibilities of MTLCL, or will these works be contracted out? I'll answer the first part of the question. With regard to future new rail lines, what approach will be adopted? Now, we will be announcing long-term railway plans, and then we will explain more about these. Well, the government's role as a monitor, we will also be conducting a review. We will try to learn from the present experiences, and we hope that the government will play a better monitoring role. As for the second question, I would defer to the MTRCL.
Toward your question, MTR has the cost of construction, operation, maintenance, and investment on these lines over the long term. That it's fully our responsibility in doing that. We do it consistent with our standards, and the work is overseen in various ways through different government regulatory bodies.
The question is whether you do direct hiring to do all the work, or will you subcontract?
We do most of it in-house. We do use subcontractors in some locations for specialized work.
我想問得清楚啲，即
For the WIL, SIL, after they are commissioned for the repair and maintenance works, will the MTLCL hire people to do them, or those works will be contracted out?
Again, most of the work is done in-house. There are specialized pieces that are done. For example, lift maintenance is done as an outsourced activity, not done by in-house forces.
So these lines are similar to other lines. Please give us an answer in writing.
So
the time is about right. We do not have to extend